Hi everyone, welcome back to Lifting the Lamp. I'm Frata Eleftheria, and tonight I'm continuing my video series on the court cards. We're up to the suit of swords, so this is a video on the meanings of the King, Queen, Knight and Page of Swords. Enjoy. Okay, so as I said in the introduction to this video, this is all about the court cards in the suit of swords. The suit of swords are associated with the element of air, but this isn't just to do with the atmosphere or the wind or anything like that. The air element in esotericism often is a symbol of the intellect and of the mind, particularly the rational mind. And air can also be associated with communication as well. But anything to do with the realm of thought and the conveying of thought is what is dealt with by the swords. And so the court cards in the suit of swords are different iterations of this kind of mental, intellectual, communicative type energy. Of course, according to their elemental subdivisions, we have the fiery, watery, airy and earthy part of air in the King, Queen, Knight and Page of Swords respectively. Beginning with the Page of Swords, the earthy part of air, let's analyse the meanings of these cards. So in the Page of Swords we have the common theme among the pages of a very young, curious person with a desire to learn new things. One thing that is very noteworthy about the Page of Swords is the alertness of the page, very much in keeping with the kind of the theme of intellectual astuteness of the sword suit. There's a very intent look on the face of the page, standing very vigilantly, almost like a sentinel. And we see the clouds blowing around the page. It reminds us of the way that thoughts blow around the mind. And we can see there seems to be a lot of wind blowing through the grass that the page is standing on, as well as the trees in the distance. It calls to mind the fluidity of the world of thought, the way that thought is always changing. If you've ever tried meditating, then the way that the clouds move across the sky here, you might find very reminiscent of the way that thoughts move through our mind when we're trying to reach a state of mental stillness. But the Page of Swords represents somebody beginning to explore pursuits of the intellect. As with the other pages, the cusp of a new adventure. But this is to do with new ideas. It could be to do with learning a new topic, perhaps beginning a new degree or course of study. It could even mean coming at a kind of a difficult situation, a difficult problem to solve, with a new kind of angle that starts to unravel that a bit more. There's a lot of mental agility symbolised by this card, and it's really calling upon the person who draws it to sharpen their intellectual abilities, much as the Page of Swords aspires to do. Drawing this card represents some person who is able to communicate their ideas well, has an opportunity to communicate ideas, and somebody who's keen to give expression to their ideas. Someone who might be quick-witted, sharp-minded, and this could be you or somebody else. Next we have the Knight of Swords. This is pure air, the airy part of air. And once again, with the Knights, we have somebody rushing in on their horse. The Knight is on a mission of the intellect. This is somebody who has set their mind upon something and cannot be convinced out of it. We see the same dynamism of the Page of Swords, but it's turned up a notch with the way that the wind is blowing. And in fact, the energy and the dynamism of the Knight of Swords is so active that it is, in a sense, kind of volatile. So the Knight of Swords represents a person who has made up their mind on something and is now acting on it. And not only acting on it, but acting very quickly and very decisively. So it represents mental clarity and clear communication, but it can also represent somebody who is being too hasty, rushing into things. And although the Knight of Swords probably thinks that they've fully considered the situation on an intellectual level, if you draw this card and it symbolizes you, just have another go at considering every option before taking action. This card can also represent an intellectual risk taker, a person who's not afraid to challenge the status quo and argue their position, taking novel stances on certain topics. And of course, the Knight of Swords represents somebody in your life, or perhaps yourself, who also has those characteristics. Next, we have the Queen of Swords. She is the watery part of air. She represents not only the intellect and the clarity of mind of the other sword cards, but she also represents a degree of maturity that the previous cards in particular simply didn't have. She holds her sword upright, directly straight up. This is very reminiscent of the Justice card in the Major Arcana, and this is a big hint about the kind of nature of this Queen of Swords card. This is somebody who has very sharp mental abilities and can cut through confusing situations to get straight to the heart of the matter. And this is somebody who doesn't let emotion get in the way, is a very rational, analytical thinker, and so is very much somebody who deals justly with any situation in a way that we might think of courts of law represented by justice. But it's a very unemotional way of dealing with things and kind of redressing the balance in things. And sometimes somebody who is represented by the Queen of Swords can come across as harsh or cold or detached or emotionally insensitive in the way that they give their advice to other people, because they're somebody who just gives it to you straight, doesn't finesse things, doesn't sugarcoat things, because they are just that intellectual directness represented by the cutting of the sword. And this also can represent a person who's very resilient and self-reliant. But that appearing to be cold or harsh is a warning against coming across that way if you are represented by the Queen of Swords. And again, the clear, unbiased way of thinking embodied in the Queen of Swords is very much kind of related to the Justice archetype. And we see the butterfly motif in the Queen of Swords cards, as we see throughout the sword court cards. This is also a symbol of transformation. If you draw this card and it represents you, trust in your intellect. And if this is somebody else coming into your life, they may be somebody who has that resilience, that self-reliance, and that kind of penetrating intellect, who could act as a guide for you through a difficult situation. But be prepared for this person to really level with you in a no-nonsense way if they identify things that you're doing wrong in your life. Lastly, we have the King of Swords, the fiery part of air. This is a card of authority in the realm of intellect, as all of the King cards represent authority in that particular element. We again see the butterfly motif on the throne of the King. The sword, again, although not held directly upright as it is in the Queen of Swords, where there's a more direct parallel with the Justice card, there is kind of a signifier of truth and justice in the sword of the King in this instance. This is somebody who is decisive. This is somebody who is very cool and collected, but can see things very clearly and has a great deal of moral integrity. The clarity of mind in the King of Swords card can be seen in the relatively clear blue sky behind him. Very clear indeed compared to the other sword cards in the court cards of this suit. So this is somebody who has a very deep understanding of how to make rational decisions, and also has a very deep understanding and appreciation of ethics. So a very good source of justice and a very good problem solver. This is a person who can resemble someone like a judge, or may even be a judge, but they can also represent some kind of professional, such as a lawyer or a financial advisor. This is really the archetype of the expert, this King of Swords card, that intellectual authority, and somebody who uses their intellectual abilities to quickly and efficiently cut to the heart of the matter. So if you draw this card and it represents you, you may need to step into a position of intellectual leadership or authority and offer advice, offer judgment to clarify a situation. You need to be the rational thinker and the objective decision maker. And it also invites you to stand fast to what you know the truth to be, no matter what. And just hold fast to that in principle. Because that is really also what is embodied by the King of Swords card. Alternatively, the King of Swords could represent a person coming into your life who has all of those qualities. But certainly all of the Swords cards are very powerful cards from the point of view of the intellect. And we've certainly seen that in this analysis of the court cards in the suit of swords. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please leave a like on the video. Feel free to leave any comments. Subscribe to my channel to support my work, and if you want to support me further, hit join or thanks down below. And you might enjoy the other videos in my tarot and divination playlist. But thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time.